Hello there you guys, welcome to another one of my videos. I did mention, didn't I, on my last video, which was the match reaction from the 2-0 defeat to Newcastle, that I might be doing another video. So we'll talk more about Manchester United. So from my perspective, Manchester United are finished. And 2025 will get worse. You know, we've got a massive January transfer window ahead. You know, Amorim is aware that he's got a lot to do ahead of the January transfer window. You know, he's got to be given time, like I mentioned on my last video, to recommend players in. And he's got to get the right calibre players in who are going to fit the agenda of the team. On the other hand, he's got to get rid of the deadwood. And I have been reading narratives up saying that he's going to get rid of around 6 or 7 players in January. I've already mentioned that I'd get rid of most of this team. You know, they are too inconsistent. You know, this team is not playing as a team. This is a team of individuals. So Amorim has got to build a team that can play as a team and not a team of individuals. So the players, like I mentioned, I would get rid of. You know, I'd say get rid of Rashford. You know, Rashford has now been axed from the squad. Was it the other week he did come out and say that he wants to leave Manchester United. For the last few seasons, Rashford hasn't been good anyway. He's been out of form. You know, the best season Rashford had was his debut season back in 2016. Rashford, of course, is a Manchester United fan through and through. You know, he risen up the ranks, you know, at the age of 7. If Rashford does leave the club, I don't think he'll go to another team in England. He will go abroad. There was talks about him going to Arsenal, but Arsenal won't pay his wages because Arsenal have got a wage structure. Rashford's on £350,000 a week at Man United. You know, you can put Rashford on the left, you can put him on the right, you can play him centrally. But whatever position we've put him in, you know, we just have not been getting the best out of Rashford. You know, Rashford's still got a lot of years ahead of him. So excuse me a second. There's been some United fans saying they'd get rid of Joshua Zirkzee. They don't think he's consistent enough. In the 2-0 defeat to Newcastle yesterday, Joshua Zirkzee come off after just half an hour. A lot of United fans booed him. Revert back to what I mentioned on my last video. Some United fans disagreed with Joshua Zirkzee getting booed. Of course, Anthony came on in the game. I thought Joshua Zirkzee didn't do too bad when he was on, but there was some moments when he was slow. I'd get rid of Casemiro. He's probably the best midfielder United have got at this moment in time, or one of. But he's too old, is Casemiro. Christian Eriksen, I'd certainly get rid of him as well. You know, he's another one that's too old. You know, I'm saying the same thing of what I just said regarding Casemiro. And surprisingly, Casemiro and Christian Eriksen were playing together in that midfield yesterday night. I hope not to see Casemiro and Eriksen playing together in that midfield in another game again for United. You know, so you can sort of blame Amorim for making that decision, playing them two together in that midfield. Luke Shaw, I'd certainly get rid of him. He's obviously injured till the new year anyway. He's injury prone. He's had a pretty good career at Man United. You know, but he's an injury prone player, plus he's too old. Certainly get rid of Harry Maguire. You know, he should have gone a while ago, but he is still at the club. You know, before there has been rumours of him leaving the club, but he still managed to remain at Man United. Of course, United did overpay for him. We paid £80 million. Maguire is still getting games. he certainly was accountable for both of Newcastle's goals yesterday. You know, Maguire could have got his head on at least one of them, was it crosses? But Martinez, of course, as I mentioned on the last video, was also accountable for both goals. Martinez hasn't been at his best recently, but I'd still probably keep him at the club for now. Get rid of Johnny Evans as well. You know, he's another aged player. You know, we've got a lot of players in that team that are aged. You know, same sort of thing as Alex Ferguson's last season. You know, he had a group of players, or most of them were aged. That's why he retired, because he couldn't take the squad any further. I'd certainly get rid of Onana. You know, he's been a very, very poor goalkeeper for us. You know, we got him from Ajax and certainly overpaid for him. Obviously, we got him in to replace De Gea. We've got Baines there. I think he's our second choice. Tom Eaton's still at the club. Bruno Fernandes, I'm not too sure about him. Would I say I'd get rid of him? Probably not. Keep him at the club for now, because he's consistent when he wants to be, especially when he's in that number 10 role, which is his predominant position. Bruno Fernandes, of course, didn't play against Newcastle because he was suspended. He got sent off in the 2-0 defeat to Wolves. I'd certainly get rid of Diego Dalot. You know, he's been poor for us as well. Not pushing forward enough as a wing-back. Would you get rid of Rasmus Højlund? You know, he's another one. There's United fans that are unhappy with him. He has had some moments as a United player. He's scored some goals, but, you know, it's not really his fault. We can't really get the best out of him because he's not getting enough service, is he? He's Højlund, you know, to really create a chance or score a goal. You know, there's just a catalogue of players, you know, I would get rid of. As for Ruben Amorim, like I said, he's not really to blame. What's going on? Like I said, the club have got to give him time. You know, Ruben Amorim, when he took on the mantle at the club, he knew it was going to be a difficult job. You know, especially managing one of the biggest clubs in the world, if not the biggest club in the world, especially the best team in English football for now, because we've won 20 titles. You know, Amorim, of course, cannot fix things that quick. You know, he does need time. Amorim, of course, is the former Sporting Lisbon manager. You know, look what he produced there. He did really well. You know, he won a couple of titles and that with Lisbon. Didn't he manage Benfica before as well? But it's going to be hard for him to replicate at Man United, you know, what he produced in Portugal. But the Portuguese League and the Premier League are totally contrast. You know, the Premier League, like I've said, is the best division in world football. But he's just inheriting a bad team, he's Ruben Amorim. You know, he can only instruct so much to them players, and if the players don't abide by what is instructed to them, then the blame doesn't stem from him. Certainly I wouldn't sack Ruben Amorim. I really, really wouldn't. There's a lot of United fans saying don't sack Ruben Amorim. But if this bad run of form does continue next year, then he will be under serious pressure. He really, really will. But I've already underlined the problems at the club. You know, players are one of the problems because they're not performing, not playing for this manager. They haven't been playing for the other managers we've had, you can say, mainly since Ferguson retired. And we've had a good 6 or 7 managers since Ferguson retired, and still nothing's changed, so it's just an ongoing cycle. Another problem is the Glazers. You know, they've been a problem for such a long time now, since they took over the club in 2005. Sir Jim Ratcliffe has become a problem because he's been making mistakes, you know, that the Glazers have made. Ineos have done nothing since they've been recommended into the club. There's also things going on behind the scenes. What's going on in the dressing room? You know, in the training sessions, what are the coaches advising the players to do? You know, that's another concern. So these so many problems at United, and these problems need to be addressed fast. Man United are facing a relegation battle, 14th in the Premier League. Can never remember the last time Man United were 14th at this stage of the season, going into the new year. We are facing a relegation battle. We lost to Newcastle 2-0 yesterday night. We lost to Wolves 2-0 away from home. We lost to Bournemouth at home not so long ago 3-0. We lost to Tottenham in the Cup 4-3. So that's 4 games in a row Manchester United have lost, like I mentioned on the match reaction. And we haven't scored a single goal in the last 3 games. I don't think Man United realistically will go down, because I do think they are too much of a big club to go down. We're like, 7 or 8 points adrift from relegation. You know, there's worse teams than Man United in the division. You know, if the bottom 3 weren't so poor, then in reality you could say Man United would be down there. But Newcastle yesterday night dismantled Man United, especially in that first 20 minutes, like I mentioned on the match reaction. You know, Newcastle's pressing was good, they kept the ball well, the football was expansive, they created chances, caused all sorts of problems for Man United. You know, Man United were poor defensively, they were at 6 and 7s. Like I said, the game was done at half-time. You know, Newcastle could have been 3-4-0 up at half-time. You know, Tonali had that chance when he hit the post. You had Gordon have a chance, he could have got his name on the score sheet. Then you had another chance as well. Newcastle's obviously scored 2 goals. That was from Isak. Like I said, Maguire and Martinez accountable for both Newcastle's goals, and Newcastle's second goal came from Joe Linton. They're a good team now, Newcastle, you know, 5th in the league, pushing to get in the top 4, you know, hoping they can qualify for the Champions League. You know, like I said, Man United did have some chances of their own in the game. Maguire hit the woodwork. Casemiro had a chance. Should have done better with it. Hit it first time. Shouldn't have done, because he had plenty of time to take at least 1 touch, maybe even 2 touches before he struck the ball in the 6-yard box. Højlund had a great chance, just went wide. You know, he should have converted that. But it's unacceptable what's going on at Manchester United. It really is. And we got a massive game on Sunday. We go away to Liverpool at Anfield. We're going to get dismantled in that. I think Liverpool are going to win at least 4 or 5-0. I hate to say it as a United fan, but I'm being realistic. You know, was it season before last, we got demolished there 7-0 at Anfield. We got a 0-0 draw last season. But we haven't got a chance against Liverpool. Not a chance. And if we're to have any chance, we've got to put a performance in. But I think the way we're going to set up against Liverpool on Sunday, which is of course next year, we're going to go defensive. And we're going to try to keep it at 0-0, maybe 1-0 or 2-0, so it's not a total drumming. But Liverpool are flying at the top of the Premier League. They're 8 points clear now, with a game in hand as well over Forest. You know, it's Liverpool's title to lose. If Liverpool do win the league this season, they will be on 20 titles. So they'll be on the same as Man United.
Of course, Liverpool have got double the Champions League that Man United have got. Liverpool have got 6, Man United have got 3. But I hate to say it, Liverpool are the best team in world football at this moment in time. You know, look at the players Liverpool have got to start with. You know, you've got Mohamed Salah, best footballer on the planet, based on form, especially this season. You've got, you know, Diaz, very good player. You've got Jota, he's consistent when he plays. He don't play as much as he should because he does get injured a lot, so you can say Jota is injury prone. But like I said, when he's on that pitch, he's consistent. You've got Gakpo, who's another consistent player for Liverpool, former PSV player. So Liverpool have got a fantastic attack. You know, it scores a lot of goals. Liverpool's goal difference, if you've looked at the Premier League table, is far superior to any team in the league, especially teams around them. You know, it's much better than Forest, far superior to Arsenal's, far superior to Chelsea's. The midfield is very, very good as well. You know, you've got Gravenberch, who's made an impact since he come from Bayern Munich. You've got Curtis Jones, good young player. Got that Tyler Morton, who's a young player. Szoboszlai, what an impact again he's made for Liverpool. Alexis McAllister, what a signing he's been for Liverpool. Made a difference in that midfield. He also did well at Brighton, so Liverpool is replicating what he produced at Brighton, Alexis McAllister. And they've also got a very good defence of Liverpool. They don't concede many goals. That just shows how ruthless their defence is. You know, they've got the best centre-half in Van Dijk. You've got Gomez, who plays well when he's fit. You've got Konate as well there, who's another centre-half. You've got two fantastic full-backs in Alexander Arnold and Andrew Robertson. You know, good defensively, good at bombarding forward and making things happen. You know, a very good goalkeeper in Alisson, who of course is Liverpool's number 1. But they've been sublime this season, I've got to be honest with you, and they are going to take some stopping. You know, look, the manager is Arne Slot. This is his first season, of course, as Liverpool manager. Hasn't really had a lot to do. You know, he's inheriting a very good team that Jurgen Klopp left behind. Because revert back to when they had Jurgen Klopp, you know, Jurgen Klopp built a foundation. You know, when Jurgen Klopp first came in at Liverpool, you know, he had a lot to do. He had to recommend good players in, obviously. Had to get rid of the Deadwood as well, which Klopp did do, to his credit. And Liverpool got the right players in. They paid reasonable fees for them as well. You know, they didn't overpay for them, you know, like a Man United or Man City would. And they've got the best out of them. And obviously what they've paid for these players, Liverpool, they're probably worth at least 3 or 4 times more than what they've paid for them. But Klopp, you know, left a legacy. And of course he did leave Liverpool last season. You know, he won, was it about 4 or 5 trophies when he was Liverpool manager, Jurgen Klopp. But yeah, it's going to be an extremely difficult game though for Manchester United. You know, I am expecting us to lose. I'll talk a bit with you about Man City as well. Man City, of course, have been in a terrible run of form. They did recently beat Leicester 2-0. That was their first win. Was it in 12 or 13 games in all competitions? You know, Man City will not sack Pep Guardiola. You know, Pep Guardiola is a really good manager. You know, he's achieved a lot. At Man City, he's won trophies galore at City. He obviously won trophies when he was at Barcelona, including the Champions League. He also did well at Bayern Munich. I don't think he won the Champions League at Bayern Munich, but he come close to winning the Champions League with Bayern Munich. But, you know, Guardiola, he's like been at teams that have already got a good squad. You know, he hadn't really had to do much, has he? You know, totally contrasts to Klopp, isn't it? You know, Klopp, when he went into Liverpool, like I mentioned, had to build a squad. You know, with Guardiola, he didn't really have to do much because the team was already there for him. So it was obvious that Guardiola was going to get the best out of the players, and he was more or less guaranteed success. But City won't sack Pep Guardiola. You know, he's done too much for the club. Obviously, Man United did beat City at the Etihad 2-1 not so long ago. I've been hearing that, you know, City have been missing Rodri, so that's one of the excuses why they've been in such a bad run of form. But, you know, City will bounce back. They really will bounce back. You know, they've just been in a terrible run of form. So, yeah. So, anyway, guys, that's everything to update with. Drop your comments, like, on the channel, and take care. By the way, this is a new channel now before I go. Like I said, my old channel was Red Devil 24. It's still on YouTube, by the way. You type in Red Devil, no space after Devil, and you put 24 next to it, and my channel will come up. I can't access my old channel, unfortunately, so I've had to create a new one for when I do get time to do videos, because this is a new mobile phone. So, yeah. So, anyway, I hope you all had a good Christmas, I forgot to mention, and I hope you all have a good New Year, and take care.